This conference will now be recorded.
I told that there's a function called count function, there's a function called sum function, there's a function called max function and min function and average function. All these are predefined functions in database. Database also has a concept called functions, just like Java program has a concept called methods, C program has a concept called functions, correct? So database also has a concept called functions. It has a concept called function. These functions have some logic already. These are predefined functions. These functions already have a logic. Someone already wrote the logic inside these functions. And these functions are stored inside the database. These functions are stored inside the database. So if you want to whenever you want to use that logic, whatever the logic present in this function, whenever you want to perform that operation, whenever you want to perform that logic, just call the function. Just call the function. When you call the function, so that logic inside the function will be executed and it will give you the result back. So there are some predefined functions in database. So for example, in Java, when you write a add method, you have a two argument method, right? It's a two argument method. Agreed? It is expecting two integers and add those two integers and return the value. So similarly, it can be there can be one argument method. There can be three argument methods in Java. That depends on what method you are writing and how many arguments your method is expecting. So you are writing those methods by yourself. So similarly, these functions are some predefined functions. They are written by someone. So they also have a one argument. These are one argument. There can be one argument functions, or two argument functions, or three argument functions. That depends on the function. Correct? So
Yes.
Yes.
right now,
Yeah.
some function is a one argument function. This is a predefined function. It's a one argument function. Max function is also one argument. Min function also one argument. Average function also one argument. Count function also one argument. All these functions are one argument functions. These are predefined functions in database. You have to pass one argument to those functions. So what argument you have to pass? For example, when I say select max of marks, select max of marks from student table. If I write this query to database understands this query. So what it understands is, so you're asking the database, so what is the maximum value of the marks? So because actually what happens is, database already knows what is max function. Database already knows what is the max function because I told that it's a predefined function in database that is stored inside the database. So when you ask a database max of marks from student table, what database will do is it will go and check the student table. It will pass the marks column to that function, marks column from the student table to that max function. Now this max function has a logic to find which is the maximum marks. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
The maximum marks says 87. Correct? The maximum marks student table is 87. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Now select
Let's
min.
start from student. See, what is the maximum marks here in the marks column?
87.
87.
If I want to know what is the minimum marks, there is a function called min function. This is also one argument function. You have to pass the argument
34.
from which table? From student table, because the marks column is there in the student table. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you get the 34.
Yeah.
Suppose if you want to know, select max of age column. So whatever the argument you pass, so there is a logic inside the max function. Whichever the value you are passing, whichever the column you are passing, it will go and check. There is a logic already present in the max function to check which is the maximum value in the column that is passed. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what will you get?
Age 21.
Age 21.
Correct. So you're selecting this particular. You're selecting what is the minimum of age, what is the max of age, what is the max of marks, what is the minimum of marks. So that's why the column name is also giving whatever you're selecting, you're getting the same column name, correct?
Yes.
So, but if you want a column name as select max of is as max of is as, you can give a different as means you can give a
Yes.
different alias name. You can give a different name for this column. You can give some alias name. So I hope everyone knows what is alias name, correct? Some nickname.
Yes.
You can give a nickname to this column. So maybe you
Yeah.
can give it as max marks, something like this. So this is how you get the result in the output from student table, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
You get now you got the column name as max marks. The column name in the result set, in the result, you're getting as max marks, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Because you're asking to select the max of phase as max marks. I want as max marks in the result, not in the I want the column name as max marks, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Similarly, when I say select 34 plus 89 as result from dual, I'll get the result as 123, correct? This is
Okay.
I don't get the
Yes.
34 plus 89 as the column name. I'm asking as the alias name. This is called alias name. I'm giving you another name for the column. What are the column I'm selecting? What are the column I'm selecting? I'm giving another name for the column that is called alias name. For example, if I select marks as student marks from student table, I'll get it as student marks. Getting it?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is called alias name for a column. You're giving the alias name for a column.
Yeah.
Alias name. I hope everyone might have heard this name.
Yes.
Alias name. Okay. So this is about alias name, and this is about the dual table, and this is about the max function and min function, correct? Similarly, if I say select sum of marks, there is a predefined function called sum of marks from student. If I want to know sum of all the student marks in the marks column, what are the data is present for the entire data, I want to do the sum. So I got the max marks is 610. So when you calculate the sum of all the marks, when you calculate the sum of all the marks, you'll get this. There's a logic inside this function. There's a logic inside the sum. It's a predefined function. That sum function already has a logic. So whatever the column that you're passing, you're passing the marks column. So it will go and grab the data in the marks column, and it will perform the addition of all the values in the marks column and give you the result. For example, if you pass select sum of age from student, so you get the sum of all the values of age column, correct? So sum function
Yes.
has a logic, and you can reuse the logic any number of times by calling that function. So when you send this query to database will call this function. It will pass the values in the age column. So because database knows what are the values of age in the student table, it will pass the values of those age column to the sum function, and sum function is a logic to perform the addition of all the values and send the result back to you. Getting it?
Yes, Ramji.
Yes, Ram.
So you understood about max function, min function, sum function. Similarly, average function. Select average of marks. What is meant by average?
Sum of all the like sum of all the marks by divided by like
Number of observations.
Number of marks, correct?
Yeah.
Number of records, number of students.
divided by number of students. Yeah.
So the average is 61. So when you say 56 plus when you say sum of all the marks is nothing but 610. So how many records are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 610 by
And
10 61, correct?
Yes.
yes.
So this is the average marks. So there is a logic inside the average function to calculate whatever the value, whatever the column that you're passing the marks column. So it will go and grab all the values in the marks column and perform the average. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So similarly, you have to specify from this marks column is there in which table, correct? Because database has to pass the values of this marks column from this table to this function, correct?
Yes.
Similarly, if I want to know how many records are there in the student, how many students are there in my college, how many students are there? If I want to know the total number of students, so there's a function called count function. So let's count of star. So don't worry about what is star. You have to pass count of star from student. It will give you count of all the star means actually all the records.
Yes.
So count of star. Select count of star from student. You'll get all the count of all the students. There are 10 students in the there are 10 students in the college in the table. Correct. So similarly, so select sum of marks. Select sum of marks by count of star from student. So from student table, it will calculate the sum of marks, then it will calculate the count of star, it will calculate the count of star from student. It means it's like an average, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You got the average. So the sum by count is nothing but average, correct?
Yes.
If I ask you to find the average of marks, you can find it this way. Otherwise, you can directly use the function called average, AVG.
Yes.
All these
Yeah.
5 functions are predefined functions in Oracle database. I did not write these functions. But if you want to write your own function and store it in the database, you can do that. But I'm not going to talk about it now. Okay, but these are the predefined functions.
Yeah.
Any questions till now?
Okay.
No.
Okay, so if there are no questions, then all these functions which I mentioned here, the sum function, max function, min function, average function, and count function. So count function. All these 5 functions are called group functions. All these 5 functions are called group functions because these functions are applied on a group of records. Suppose why do I want to call the sum function? Because I want to calculate the sum of marks in a group. There's a student group. There are 10 students in that group. In that group, I want to find what is the sum of all the marks, sum of all the student marks in that group. Correct?
Yes.
Similarly, I want to find the count. What is the count in that group? How many students are there in that group? There is one group. There is a group of records. Obviously, the table is nothing but it's a group of records. Correct?
Yes.
So, in this group, what is the total count of that group? What is the total count of that group? That is the reason I'm using the count function. And I want to perform what is the average marks of that group. Average marks of that group. That's why I'm performing the average function. Correct?
Yes.
So I want to know
Yes.
what is the maximum value of marks in that group. Which student got max marks in that group? So max function is always applied on a group of records, not on a single record, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Even the minimum function is also applied on a group of records, correct? In that group, which student got the minimum marks? So definitely, if there are multiple people in the group, then I'll talk about the min function and max function. Otherwise, why do I need, if there is only one person, why do I talk about max and min, correct? And why do I
Yes.
talk
Yes.
about average? And why do I talk about count? And why do I talk about sum? If there is only one person, if there are group of persons, if there is a group, that group might contain 10 records, and that group might contain 8 records, that group might contain 2 records, that group might contain 3 records. Correct? Out of that, all the in that group, what is the max marks? What is the min marks? What is the average marks? What is the count of that group? What is the uh, what else? What is the sum of all the things? Correct?
Yes.
So all these functions are with respect to a group. All these functions are with respect to a group. Agreed?
Yes.
All these functions are applied on a group. All these functions are applied on a group of records. That's why these functions are called group functions. Okay?
Okay.
So we spoke about, in today's class, we spoke about what is order by clause, what is order by clause, how to order the data in ascending order and descending order. I spoke about what is the alias name, correct? I also spoke about what is a dual table, how to get the system date, how to get the system timestamp, and what are the what are the functions what are the group functions available in the data Oracle database by default. These are the predefined group functions available in the Oracle database, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'll break this class for now. So I want everyone to practice this and come to the evening class. In the evening class, I'll talk about few more things related to this group. Related to the group functions, I need to, still the group functions are not completed. I have to complete the group functions by talking about few more things. And from tomorrow is Saturday. Tomorrow morning, I will start some important things in database from tomorrow morning. Today evening, I'll finish all the other things, and tomorrow morning, I'll talk about a few more important things in database. And my plan is to complete the database, the SQL queries. My plan is to complete the SQL queries by Sunday, and we'll start with JDBC from Monday.
Okay.
Okay.
So it means we are going back to Java from Monday. We are going back to Java programming from Monday. JDBC is nothing but Java to database connectivity, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you connect? So right now we are connecting to the database by using the SQL plus client, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So tomorrow and day after tomorrow, I'll talk about SQL developer client. How to connect to database by using SQL developer client. And from Monday, I'll talk about how to connect to the database by using Java client. How to write a Java program. The Java program will act as a client. Right? Java program will connect to the database and get the data from the database.
Okay.
So this is what we are going to discuss in the next coming classes. So don't miss the classes. They will be interesting for sure.
Okay, Rams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Ram.
Right.